Hey there, it's Sam with a Friday video for you. Happy New Year, everyone. I know it's January 5th. It's been the new year for a few days, but this is the first writing video that I'm doing in the new year. So yeah, here we are, first Friday of the new year, and 2024 is a big empty slate of possibilities. So we'll see where that takes us this year. Today I'm asking a question for all the writers out there. What are your writing goals for the new year? I have some. Hopefully, some of you do. I'm sure some of you do too. And if not, this is a good chance to think about them. I will answer mine in just a little bit, but I'm going to try something a little bit different. I've tried this before with some videos, and it hasn't always worked with technology and such. So I'm trying it again. I wanted to invite a few guests on to kind of answer that question too, and it's not going to be like the the same level as my formal interviews where I interview one guest like for a whole hour, but just kind of a quick snippet of 5 or 10 minutes. I thought hearing from maybe one or two other authors would be cool. So I'm going to introduce my first guest and have her answer the question of what are your New Year's wedding goals. So I'm going to bring on Lee King, sorry, I believe her author name is L.S. King. I interviewed her maybe kind of recently. I think it was like November. You can go back and find that one in my videos. L.S. King. She writes sci-fi and fantasy stuff. I'm gonna bring her on and ask what her New Year's goals are. So just give me a second, and here will be L.S. King. We'll see. Hey there, Lee. Are you ready for us?
All right, let me take my glasses off
Okay.
because they all you see is a reflection.
Well, actually, I can't see you yet. You
Really?
might need to turn your video on.
I had it on. What happened to it? Let me put my old glasses on and look.
We've had a few interruptions and delays today, so no
Uh,
no worries.
even my old glasses are reflecting all over the place.
Hey, there it is. And you still got your Christmas lights up. I appreciate that. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
Have you been?
what's that?
Have you been?
Doing well. How are you? How was your holiday?
It was great. It was
Awesome.
great.
Yeah. Glad to hear it. Yeah. So like I just told the viewers and I mentioned it. I think it corresponded with you elsewhere. I'm trying a new thing where I bring on people not for a formal interview for like an hour like we've done before, but just kind of for a quick snippet. So to answer a quick question. So thank you for joining us and
Great.
hopefully
Thanks
get,
for asking me.
getting the word out there. Yeah. So first of all, can you tell us, just remind those of us at home, really quickly, like, I don't know, 60 seconds or less, who are you? What kind of books do you write? That kind of thing.
Um, well, for the purposes of this, I'm a science fiction author. I won't go into other things like being a grandma. Um, I'm a science fiction author. At the time, I've got two series out. One is a space opera series called Deuces Wild. The other is a series I call the Sword's Edge Chronicles. There are 3 books in the series, plus a standalone book that takes place in that universe 1,000 years earlier. So it's a prequel, but it's not necessarily connected. It can be read as a standalone.
Cool.
So that's it at the minute.
Okay. Yeah, I know you got two different series, sci-fi. Well, I guess you said they're both sci-fi. One is maybe
Mhm.
one more seems fantasy-ish, but they're both really sci-fi. So
Yes.
there we go.
I
Okay,
think science fantasy is what my former copy editor told me to call it.
I'll go with that. Yeah. Okay. Well, what are your writing goals for the new year? Do you have any projects in the work that you can tell us about? Anything you're on the back burner you're trying to finish up?
I have um I had finished my one book, well, except for the very ending, which I was going to use, which I am probably still going to use as an epilogue. But I had a dear writing friend. She's one of the most amazing writers I know. I trust her instincts implicitly. And at first she was like, "You're right. You really don't have an overall plot." And after she finished it, she said, "Here's an idea for an overall plot to string the whole thing together so you don't have to completely deconstruct it." And I was like, whoa. So I'm probably going to try to go through and add that in without having to deconstruct the whole thing because it's over 80,000 words right now.
Wow.
which actually for a Sword's Edge Chronicles book is very short, but I've also got the Deuce's Wild characters are making noises that they want their turn. And I've got about a half a dozen short stories I've been working on as well.
Okay.
So that's where that is.
So you're staying busy. Let's see, you've I think the last time I talked to you, which kind of recent, it was like November maybe. Um I think you had a new Deuce's Wild book, is that right?
My latest
Newish.
yeah, my newest book that I've published was Deuce's Peter Piper Pickle Peppers. Deuce's Wild Raising the Stakes, a third book in that series. And
That's like a space western, right?
oh yeah, it's got serious stuff in it, but it's meant to be more fun.
It looks fun.
Especially the combination of the two main characters, the space gunslinger type and the pioneer cowboy, and they're just so totally opposite, and it's just great fun writing their stuff.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to read it yet. And my TBR list is huge, as I'm sure yours is too, but it looks fun, and I still might I still want to check it out later. So what was I gonna say? Yeah, okay. So you have that one, and then you have your other series, and that's the one you're writing a new book in next, is that
Yeah,
right?
I try to ping pong back and forth,
Sure, okay.
write Sword's Edge and then write Deuce's Wild. But I have the nigglings of a third series in a totally different
Oh,
universe that's starting to mess my brain up. So I have no idea what might happen with that.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know writers, a lot of us have our hands on a lot of different things, which is
Mhm.
great. Um, it can be hard to pick one to focus on right away when you've got so much to do. Um, your other series, the one you're working on next, is the one that's you said was like science fantasy, I believe, Swords Edge.
Mhm.
Um, so is that one coming out, or is let's see, are there three books in that series already?
3 books.
Three books already?
And this one it was supposed to be out by Christmas.
Yeah.
And yeah, but then I was like, I really don't think there's a main plot strong enough. And that's why I handed it over to a friend of mine, and she read it and she agreed with me. And like I said, she came up with an idea that should string the whole book together without me having to completely deconstruct it.
Okay.
So that's my goal this year. If I can just get that book out, that's my big goal. But I have short stories I'm trying to finish up. I'd like to do a
Okay.
short collection of short stories
In
as well.
in the Deuces Wild universe.
Both universes and
Okay.
standalones, all
Okay.
sorts of stuff.
Okay. Cool.
All the hodgepodge of ideas in my brain, shove everything into all
Yeah.
those short stories into a book.
That's
So
that's cool. Once you have a few followers and they've read some of your content, hopefully they'll appreciate that. I was gonna say. So do you have a target release date for the Swords Edge one, or is it just kind of
nope.
dependent? Okay, but
TFN to no TBA to be announced.
okay, okay, but hopefully this year is what you're saying.
I
Well,
hope so.
at least that's the goal. Okay,
That's the
okay,
goal.
yeah, yeah. The year is young. We got what 361 days left, so
Not a lot of time.
I know it's gonna go by faster than you think. I mean I don't want to think that way, but because we have a whole year, but I mean I know it goes by fast, and this time last year I was probably saying that too. Um, so yeah, okay. Sounds like you got your work cut out for you with short stories and this one level. And then you mentioned the possible third series. I mean, is that like just an idea at this point, or is that something you're actively working on?
It's 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 digging its way into my brain whether I like it
Okay.
or not. So I just have to wait and see what happens
But
with
you
it.
haven't written anything down?
No, it's still in very much in the simmering on the back
Yeah,
burner
I get
stage.
that. I get that. Might be a while before we see anything on paper. I have ideas like that too.
Yeah, but
So,
boy, is it ever exploding in my brain. Yeah.
can you tell us anything about it? Will it also be sci-fi?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be I don't know what it's going to turn into. But it's not something, because I had thought, well, maybe there's a way to take some of these plot ideas and work them into either Deuce's Wild or into Sword's Edge, and it doesn't work. It just does
Yeah.
not work either way. So it's going to have to be a new world. It's going to have to be a new universe. So, but that hasn't formed yet. The plots are there. Some of the characters are there, but the universe hasn't formed itself yet. So I have to wait.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can work on that in all the free time you have, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Between everything else. Yeah. Not like you're busy. Not like any of us are busy.
Nope.
Okay. Well, yeah. It sounds like a whole new year of possibilities. Let's see. Anything else? Aside from writing, just like any personal goals or just anything you're looking forward to for this new year?
Oh, let me see. What am I looking forward to in the new year? Season 4 of The Chosen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need to catch up on that.
Oh yeah. Love it.
I've watched some of it, but
Yeah.
not
I
all.
can't wait for it to come out. Uh,
I have read the book. Yeah.
yeah, I read the book too. It's fascinating. It's
Yeah, yeah,
spoiler when you
yeah.
read the book. Um, and I was just watching, it's not, they don't call it a documentary, but anyway, it's a thing about Jonathan, and it's called Jonathan and Jesus, and it's about Jonathan Rumi,
Oh,
who plays
cool.
Jesus, and going through some of the struggles he's gone through. Um, the humility of his humility is amazing. I mean, if there's a personal goal I have, it's like, um, Jesus seems so far off to try to be as humble as him, but to look
Sure.
at Jonathan and his continuing effort to be humble, that's something I could place as a goal.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, no, I'm trying to work on humility too, and I know I say that while I'm doing a self promotion. So yeah,
that's one thing that makes it difficult. Here you are as an author trying
yeah.
to promote and self-promote,
Take
and
that for what it's worth.
then personally you want to remain, you want to try to remain humble and stay, and
Yeah.
it's a difficult thing.
But
It
no,
really,
I mean, even just like in my personal life and my marriage and other friend groups, humility is something that that's come up that I know I need to work on, and
mm,
I'm striving toward that and praying for that as well. So
yeah,
that's
it's
an
tough.
important goal.
It is an important goal, I think, and it's mine for this year is to work on humility, and trusting God no matter what happens, because it's too easy to get caught up in worry.
Sure.
So that's me for this year.
Okay. It sounds like a good year. Well, at least high hopes for the year. Hopefully, we'll check in later. Maybe the next time I do one of these like guest videos and we can see how you're coming along.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much for having me on
Yeah,
again.
thanks for signing on
Hi.
for a little bit. I'm glad this worked. Again, I'm trying kind of a newish thing where I might just have a few people on for short snippets, but yeah, thank you for being flexible and coming on today.
Oh, you're so welcome. And
Okay,
I pray you have a happy new year.
you too, Lee. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Here. If you want to sign off,
Okay.
yeah,
I,
I'll finish
I've
up and
got to put my glasses on to do that, and I lost them. There they are. Now I can see.
there we go. There we go.
All right. And just let me click that, and I'm out.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Lee. That's author L.S. King. You can look for her work at, I'm, I think yeah, I know she has a website. I'm trying to remember what it is now. Um, yeah, that's right. Her username, and she told me this before, is Lori Endil. You might have seen it on her screen for a little bit right there, but LORIENDIL. So loriendil.com or at most social media. She said she uses that name as well. So look for LS King at Lori Endil and check out some of her work. Okay. I think let's see. I had invited a few other people on, but honestly, there was some delays on my end. Just getting back into the swing of things in the new year and kicking things off and trying to figure out schedules with the family. It's been not a bad day or weekend, or week, but it's just been an unusual one. We've had to sort some things out, so that's okay. So anyway, I was delayed, and people who had expressed interest in possibly coming on aren't here today, but we had Lee. That was great. And I hope to try something like this again later, maybe next month. And I'll see what the topic is then. But I'd tell you about my New Year's goals for writing. And let me go ahead and tell you that. My chair keeps falling down. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Okay, here we go. Um, New Year's goals for me. Well, if you've been following my stuff, you know one of my biggest goal. I mean, when it comes to at least creative writing and such, my biggest goal is to publish my novel Fractured Heroes. I've been sending things out about since I think it started in May, so like 2/3 of the year. So for about 8 months, I've been sending out queries and such to publishers, and then I started sending them out to agents too. Um, no luck yet. I mean, I've gotten a few positive responses, but I got one who said they would be willing to publish it, but I did some research and found out that wasn't the best fit for me, which is fine. I think, you know, within reason, it's more important to be to find the best one for you rather than the first one that comes along. So I'm glad I got, you know, one offer, um but yeah, it's I'm aiming for traditional publishing, and I know some people go a different route, and if this doesn't work out for me, I'm open to chasing a different route too. But traditional publishing is still the dream, so that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm gonna keep doing it. I admit there have been times that on the road where I've gotten discouraged, and I've been like, you know, where is this going? And, you know, how long will I have to keep doing this? And I'm like nearing the end of, like, I have made a document for myself of like agents and publishers that people had mentioned to me or had sent me, and I'm nearing the end of that list. Like I'm kind of going through it and seeing which ones are still open, and who's available to send to, and I'm getting near the end of that list, and I'm like, well, what happens if I go through this list and I haven't heard back from everyone, and no one accepts it. Um, I am gonna keep going through the list, and of course, if I finish that list, the list isn't the end of the world. I mean, I can Google more agents and publishers or find others pretty easily. But also I still have some queries out that I've not heard back from yet. And most people, this is a positive at least. My friend asked me, do they still respond to you if they're not interested? And I'm like, most of them have. Like most publishers, and so far that I've dealt with, most publishers and agents send you a response to say we're not interested. So so you at least know like whether they're still working on it, or whether they're still looking at it, or whether they've decided yet. So um yeah, I still have some queries out, and I'm going to send some more out starting soon. I haven't done any this year yet. It's only January 5th. Took a little break for the holidays, but I want to start again on that soon. And yeah, then we'll see how that goes. You know, best case scenario, the dream would be maybe, I mean, get a book deal sometime this year. I mean, I'm not expecting like, you know, $1 million bestseller right away. Although, hey, who knows, maybe. But I mean, just just getting some kind of book deal and contract this year. Best case scenario, or maybe the dream would be have a book to sell and publish in my hands by Christmas, like by this coming Christmas. That'd be awesome. That'd be fun. I'd enjoy that a lot. So that's the journey I'm on. That's the big goal. As you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, there's a couple other smaller or side projects I'm going to be working on. A couple of short stories that I wrote or drafted in the past year, and I've done a few things with, but I'm thinking of tightening them up and tweaking them enough and trying to send those for publication too, because the idea is, you know, a lot of times you just a completely unknown author who hasn't published before, you may not get in on your first novel, but if you publish a short story or something else smaller, that gives you a little bit of clout in the publishing world. So who knows? It could be a small stepping stone to bigger things like I want to do. But yeah, I want to maybe sooner than later, maybe in the next few weeks or months, I want to work on these short stories and maybe start sending those to some publishers too. So that'll be a thing, hopefully. And then so yeah, my goal, my number one goal as far as creative writing is to get published this year, or at least, I mean, if not, if it's not printed within the year, then at least a book deal this year would be awesome. And if it's not the book deal, maybe a short story. So I would goal, hopefully, Lord willing, to be published this year, or at least be you know, on that path, or be accepted by a publisher this year. That'd be great. That's the big goal. Okay. The rest is, let's see. I mentioned that actually can't remember if I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. If not, you can go find it. I am working on a writing project for my church actually. My church is having its 50-year anniversary this year. That they've been around. I've not been going there that long. We moved here like 4 years ago. So you know there's a lot of newer people, but one of our elders kind of asked me to do this project where I write up the history of the church because he knows I'm a writer and so I've been doing interviews with people, especially like people who have been at the church for a long time, a few since the very beginning, like since 50 years ago, and some of the former pastors and such. I've been interviewing people, which has been really cool and interesting to hear from those, older and wiser and more experienced than me. Um, and I've done a lot of the interviews so far. I have not done much of the actual sit down and write yet. So that's something I got to do sometime this year. Again, hopefully sooner than later. And as far as like creative writing, as far as writing new stuff, I, like Lee was saying, there's always something in my head, something I want to write. Um, I'm not sure if I get to that as much this year. I mean, maybe. I mean, toward the end of the year, best case scenario, if I get a book deal, and no longer have to focus on querying at least right away, I can um, maybe focus on like writing another novel or something like that, or writing another story next. NaNoWriMo was toward the end of the year. I didn't do it this past year, but I'd be open to trying it again if I was one of those. If I was in the place to begin writing another draft. I still have so Fractured Heroes. I have drafted the first two books of the trilogy, and I know what I want to write roughly for the third book. I just haven't sat down to write it yet because I've been focusing on trying to get this one published and focusing on other things. But at some point in my life, maybe this year, I'd like to draft that third book. And I mean, even if no one has accepted it yet, I'm able to say, "Hey, I have a trilogy. I have these three books, and I can do something with them." And at least get that story out of my head onto paper or onto a screen, as the case will probably be. And there's always other ideas too. There's other stories I want to write. That big story has been my main focus for now. Um, the Fractured Heroes story, but there's other like Lee was saying, there's other stories rattling around my head that I want to write. I did a video a few weeks ago, one of my December ones, where I talked about writing like switching genres, almost just as a creative experiment. But what if I, as a sci-fi guy, started writing something like try to write fantasy instead, and I tried to think of what kind of scenario I'd do for a fantasy story. Haven't quite fleshed it out fully, but I have some ideas that I want to try. Other things I want to read and write. So anyway, that's where I am. I'm not going to get to all of it this year. So I guess my big three, I'll summarize again. Big two or three goals, depending on what I get to. Publish something, preferably Fractured Heroes, a novel. Um, this writing project with my church that I mentioned, where I'm chronicling the church's history. Oh, do you see balloons show up on my Zoom? Yeah, I think I haven't. I'm not sure why. Yeah, must have been a Zoom effect. They were not real balloons. Did I say something about New Year's? Like was that an effect for New Year's? I don't know. Zoom is weird sometimes. Okay, goals: publish something, preferably Protected Heroes. Work on this project for my church, and at least get that into a finished place of some sort. And then maybe, depending on how the first two go, draft my book three, or at least begin drafting it. I'm sure I won't finish it this year. But yeah, begin drafting book three of Fractured Heroes, and then we'll see what happens. So those are my goals. I mean, another year is young, and I have time to think about it. And I mean, if I didn't do anything these first 2 weeks or first month for whatever reason, I haven't gone into the whole year. I still have time, but it's a new year. I kind of want to get on it. I kind of want to work on some of these things that have been floating around in my head for a while. So we'll see. I haven't like written out a schedule for myself or anything. I sometimes do, but I want to like get on the short stories soon and finish up some of these smaller writing tasks that have been in my head and then see what happens from there. So yeah, those are the goals. That's the writing journey. I'm sure you have yours too, and I'd love to hear about them. If you want to post it in the comments or tell me about it later, I just want to say for anyone who's watching or watching this far, or if you're watching the replay later or listening to the podcast episode, um, thank you for watching and listening and being here and sticking with it. I know, a lot of us authors are on the journey, and I'm not there yet. I'm not even published yet. Um, but it means a lot to us indie authors to have support from audience members and from viewers or listeners or readers who are actually interested in our stuff. So if you've been interested and you're following me, thank you. I appreciate you. I don't want to neglect that. I appreciate you guys, and I hope I hope that you and I will both be pleased to see what comes in 2024 and what comes of our writing then. So yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Happy New Year, happy weekend, and keep writing, doing your thing. Okay, signing off. Bye.